This is the Blairing Out with Eric Blair show, and today I'm pleased to have Chris Corner of IAMX on the show. How you doing today, Chris?
Fabulous.
What was your youth like growing up in Middlesbrough, Yorkshire?
Perfect. Very good. This guy's good. It was strange. It's a small town in the northeast of England. Like any small town, it is. If you're anywhere sensitive and have artistic tendencies, it's fraught with anxiety and desire to leave, and therefore most of my youth was formulating a plan to leave, and that was through studying and through music. I got out.
And where did you study?
I studied in London. I actually left to London. I did a degree in astrophysics and mathematics, and then but I was doing music at the same time. I was in my spare time. I was doing music, and actually, when I was a student, my first band became kind of quite successful, and I left my course. So I gave up physics for music.
Yeah, that's right. You were 15, right?
I was a little kid. Yes.
How did the Sneaker Pimps come about?
Two friends messing around in the bedroom, and being quite interested in production, but then wanting to write songs and to form a band and to get out of our little town.
Some of the highlights of the success of the Sneaker Pimps for you?
The main highlight for me was being given the opportunity to have a platform to move into my own creativity, and I know that because I was so young, I wasn't really ready to take on that role, the role of singing, the role of leading a project, even though I was leading it in terms of production and songwriting and stuff, but I wasn't really the face of that, and it wasn't my true heart and soul. So giving me that platform to become more confident in myself and develop my own creativity was priceless.
With the first Sneaker Pimps album, Becoming X, going on to sell 1.5 million in the US alone,
yeah.
What made you decide to get rid of Kelly Dayton?
Because it wasn't really the plan in the first place. And commercial music for me wasn't something I really wanted to get involved in, and the music industry, as you probably know, is a bit of a dirty business, and we were just getting much more wrapped up in that, and to put an end to that, we got rid of the singer, and she didn't write, she didn't do any of that stuff, so it was very much clawing back our what we owned, and being very strong about moving forward in a different direction.
Was that frightening for you?
It was no, because it was only frightening because everything else around us crumbled. So the people that were supporting it because of money no longer supported it. So basically, we weeded out all the people that we didn't want to be around anyway, and ended up formulating a different existence in an independent music world, and that, thank God that I had that, because that sort of paved the way for IMX.
What drove you to create IMX?
Self-obsession and control freakiness. I think I just really needed to push it further and explore myself fully, and in a band you don't really get the chance to do that because you're constantly compromising, and there's a lot of safety and support in a band, but you don't ever really get the chance to flourish individually. So I needed to do that and at least give it a chance and to risk something. And when I started IMX, I felt finally like I had something to say, and it felt like it was my time.
Chris, what is your favorite non-musical sound?
Non-musical sound? Water.
Nice. Coming out of the faucet?
No.
Is it something intimate that you can't share?
No. I mean, that was the first controversial thing that came to mind. I thought, should I, really say that? And I didn't really mean it. So I think a flowing, wonderful river would be yes.
What do you love about Berlin, and how has it changed you musically?
I think it gave me the freedom or the space, psychological space to develop IMAX fully. And London was. I started IMAX in London, but it was too stressful, too claustrophobic, and too competitive. And I was still really wrapped up in the music industry there, and it's very closed-minded, yeah, in many ways, as it is everywhere. So I just needed to physically get away from that, and physically get away from hedonism and a lot of the nonsense that was going on in my life in terms of the groups of people that I was hanging out with, and to do that I didn't want to kind of go to the other end of the earth. I just wanted to go to another city that I thought was really nice, I got a feeling about, and that was Berlin. And it helped me explore that side of me that I had not explored in a very free and a very calm way.
Did you ever read the stories about Iggy and David Bowie?
Oh, because I grew up, I was never really a rock and roller, and I would always hear this stuff, and I was not anti rock and roll, but it wasn't really my ethos, it wasn't the way that I was brought up to make music, or that I wanted to make music. It was always a much more thoughtful process for me, and that doesn't mean that I don't think it's amazing for what it is, but it was just not my way. As it sometimes as it seems, the live shows might give off the impression that it is about rock and roll, and I have a very crazy and simple fucked up lifestyle or something. It's not like that at all. It's much more complicated, but there is a beauty and a simplicity of letting yourself go in an aggressive way on stage that might come across as being rock and roll. That's not what I'm interested in.
How important is the concept of family to you?
That's really an interesting question. Family is not in the traditional sense, in terms of I get married, I have 2 kids, is not important for me. I'm learning that I need people, and at one point I thought I didn't, as I think everybody goes through that period. And the more that I'm relaxing about the idea that I need people, the more that I'm relaxing about the idea of family, but not family in the traditional sense. Family in the sense of having people like a band, because a band is like a family. I think I get everything I need from the band and from one intimate relationship with one person and my management. Yeah, that's about it. So that's my family at the moment. I have a really good family, my mom and dad, of course, but they're not in my life so much at the moment. So I have to say that it is important, but in a non-traditional way.
How did your vision for your CD Kiss plus Swallow differ from that of the alternative?
I think the Kiss plus Swallow, which I like very much, was the beginning for me. It was the sort of embryo of the sound, and it was quite a sort of perfectionist, very clinical way of recording a record, and that's why I think it's much more electronic and quite cold at times. There's a coldness to it which the alternative doesn't have. Or I tried to add more organic elements to the alternative, live band, acoustic instruments, and so what I think the alternative is an expansion of Kiss and Swallow. Kiss and Swallow is quite naive in a way. I love it for its naivety, but it's not something that I would do again. And what I like is that it was a simple one concept album. It was okay. A lot of songs sound the same. The sound is the same all the way through. I use the same beats. I use the same bass lines, the same keyboards. So there was a real simplicity to it that I hadn't had before. But the alternative was kind of growing out of that.
What brings you the most peace in your life?
Sex.
Really?
Yeah. It's hard.
I like you,
That's
man.
hard, man.
You are a cool guy.
That doesn't mean that I have peace all the time. I mean, it's very, it might be quite limited peace. But I would say that those are the most peaceful times because for me, it's like switching off. It is purely switching off. The only other time is on stage, and being in that kind of trance, that sort of hypnotic state, is like having sex. So I would say those two are brother and sister.
Makeup must-haves.
Yes.
Name them.
Dark brown eyeshadow because black
You
is
have to
goth.
name the companies.
Okay.
Dark brown eyeshadow by
Maybelline, MAC, MAC lipstick. What's the glue? I have this glue that you glue wigs with because I use that not for wigs but for stage because I sweat like a donkey. So if I'm sweating, it burns a hole in your fucking skin. It stays so much, but it's really, really good for stage.
What makes the IAMX live experience unique?
I think is the reality of it. I think what makes it unique is that it's very theatrical. It's very dressed up, but during the performance there is a loss of control that is very real, and I do it because I don't have that in my real life. I don't have that loss of control. It gives me that. It allows me to vent, and it's very therapeutic.
How would you define the word love?
Controlled, thoughtful, long-lasting companionship.
Okay. You believe that?
No. But I believe that the mind can overcome the body. So I'll give it a go.
You are working on a new record right now.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about it.
I think it's kind of wider. It's more expansive than the alternative. I think it's probably a bit more political. I don't quite know yet because I'm still sort of digging through it and putting the puzzle together. But I think it's a little more, a little sweeter in its tone. It's a little more human, and it will still have the aggressive IMAX electronic sound, but I think the lyrical content is more human.
It was great having you on the show.
You too.
You're a good guy.
Thanks.
I dig you, dude. All right.
Thanks, man. Dig you too.
All right, this is the Blairing Out with Eric Blair show with Chris Corner of IMX signing off.
The Blairing Out Show.